Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV here, wrapping up my final video for you down here at the Jayco 2025, brand new display. Now, this video has come out long after the show has ended, but I have just put on miles and miles getting you footage, and I felt it was like important to almost save the best for last. They have really leveled up their luxury fifth wheels the last couple of years, and it's really interesting. If some people say, like, what's better, North Point or Pinnacle? What are the differences? They're more the same than different. Pinnacle does everything North Point does, plus a couple more things. There's certain things like dishwasher prep in a North Point. You have a factory standard dishwasher here in a Pinnacle. They both have the option for third air, but Pinnacle has the ability to have a heat pump included on it that the North Point doesn't. The Pinnacle has a full rear wall cap. It looks like a diesel pusher on the back. It looks like a motorhome on the back of this sucker, which is exactly the thing that they're going for. They want this to feel like a towable diesel pusher, a diesel toter, if you will, and they take everything up yet another notch. We're 102-inch wide body. You've got the double arched roof trusses that really open up the interior space on this. You have a huge bathroom with just an extra large shower, and this model. So like, if you take the 310 North Point and put it on steroids, this is the result right here. Everything is bigger, everything is longer. They have more involved storage solutions. They have more space, more feature, more everything. Maximized window coverage, no carpet. They got rid of the floor vents for 25 here. They've made some beautiful updates. And really, the only downside to this RV is its greatest qualities are its greatest liabilities, because it's way over the top, which means it's heavier, it's longer, it's more expensive. But if you're gonna just get something to someplace and park it on a pad, you're gonna love every bit of this sucker right here. So I'm gonna try to share, some high points, a couple low points as we go through. There's not a lot of those. I gotta kind of go looking for trouble with a map and glasses on this. And if you like how we're still trying to be fair with you, even up here where there's a lot of money involved, we respect the fact that you work hard for it. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get inside. Now, like my underwear, I'm gonna try to keep this brief. Boxer briefs, but I'm gonna try to move along because I can't possibly cover every single thing in this video. I'm really going to try to focus on the high points and not talk about the stuff you can see, but talk about the stuff you can't see. Like, you can see the woodwork, but what may not be as obvious just on camera is that this is actually, all of the woodworking is an upgrade above and beyond even the Jayco North Point. And it's above and beyond what most fifth wheels even typically offer today. Basically, it's like all true hardwood cabinetry. It's all got a hand-polished sheen to it. Something else that you won't see is mechanical fasteners. If you really look through this, you're going to be very hard-pressed and challenged to actually locate a visible mechanical fastener. Like, this is all real wood fascia, and look at the lights dancing all the way down it. You can see how everything just has a little bit of a gloss and a sheen and just a shine to it. Another thing that you won't typically see are the air conditioners. Now, you have two air conditioners factory standard on this. Those two factory standard air conditioners are whisper ducted. Notice that you don't see the square, so you won't tend to hear the air near as much. Now, there's an optional third air conditioner that we're going to get to see on this RV today. And it is not a whisper ducted air system, but it is still a Coleman Mach Q Series central air unit. So what that means is that it is just going to organically be a little bit quieter and not tend to blow your ears out. It's not going to roar like Katy Perry every time the air compressor kicks on. So with this being like the big brother to the 310 North Point, they have room for lots of extra things. Now, the 310 does the same theater seat, but you'll see that everything on this is stretched out. Now, if you don't like this little handy armrest, which, by the way, I forgot to kind of display this, does have some handy little power outlets right there. You can just tell it, move thing, get out the way. Also, the handy little twin swivel stands. In a sense, it's cool that they're there. It gives you a nice place to set down your drink or whatnot. But if I get these out of the way, one of the things that it reveals is they finally moved the controls to the top of the armrest. So that means if you plug in your USB plugs, or if you happen to shift your weight in that chair, you're not going to accidentally start closing your chair on yourself when you're not intending to. That's such an annoying thing that has definitely happened for so many years in the RV industry that they're working away from. Look at the side stand to the right of the sleeper sofa. You see how that's a pop top right there? Both left and right side stands have the storage built into it. There's some decorations in the way, but you do have household and USB outlets on both sides of that rear sofa. And if you look at the ceiling line right there, that's one of the best places in the RV to look to see that this is a barreled ceiling. And this new ceiling fan, I don't know where they source this thing from. It's moving an insane amount of air, and it's dead silent. Like, you know, some ceiling fans, when they kick on, it's just like, whoosh. Notice you don't hear that here? You know, all you hear is me yakety yakking. It's also, it feels about 10 degrees cooler in here just from the airflow. It is awesome. Now notice when they did that overhead storage above the sleeper sofa right there, they also, like, they threw shelves in that. That's one of the little differences between North Point and Pinnacle. Same structure, same general mentality, but enhanced in some way, shape, or form, always adding a little bit more into the Pinnacle series. Like, let me get you over here and give you a quick look at this. When you, North Point has blackout roller shades, Pinnacle is going to pick up the two-piece and a biscuit, which is probably going to be my new name for that now. Let me actually take a seat over here at the theater seat. One of the cool things about a power televator is that it puts the TV right down at optimal viewing level. When a manufacturer doesn't do a televator, sometimes they get inclined to mount the TV way up high in the sky. And this is like that Maxell Tapes commercial where you're just staring straight across from this thing. They have a really kicking JBL sound system in here. The subwoofer is right behind the sofa. I like to be fair, though. One of the things I think some folks may not like, if you look down near the floor level, you can see that there's still that slightly elevated, maybe toe stubber kitchen slide right there. Some people say it's not a big deal. Some people say it's a deal breaker. I encourage you to make up your own mind. I'm not an authority, and I'm not going to tell you either way. I would be surprised if I bet they're actually even working on it now. I bet North Point and Pinnacle are working on a way to move away from that. But they have been less than trusting of existing engineering methods that some other manufacturers have applied. Now, that could just be Jayco, saying what Jayco says. I don't know. But that's the reasoning I've had. Now, notice this huge waterfall edge, flip up, easy lock countertop extension. I have left it open. I wanted to leave it in the most obstructive location possible. And let me shift over here. If I shift over to the right-hand theater seat, this is the view from the right-hand theater seat. Notice how it's not in the way at all. So if you were ever worried about that somehow blocking your view of the TV, it's absolutely, positively not an issue. But again, something that you don't see, new for the 25 season for North Point, Pinnacle, and Eagle, and Seismic, they got rid of the floor vents, guys. You've been asking for this for years. The effectiveness of the heating system is the reason they haven't done it previously, but they found a new way to duct the heating that gets the vents out of the floor without losing 37% of the airflow efficiency and still maintaining basically a warmed floor, because the actual heat plenum where the heat travels through is still in the floor. So your floor feels warm. When you have the dryer vent style cabinet side ducting, your floor will stay cold and the air warms up, but sometimes only like inconsistently. So this will heat more evenly, more effectively, more consistently, and you won't end up freezing your toes, Just kind of one of the nice things here. Now, the window coverage on this, I don't know that it could get much better. They absolutely last year placed a major focus on maximized campsite window coverage, and you can see that they have maintained that this year. It looks almost at a glance like one gigantic redonkulous panoramic window. There is technically a slight middle beam in there. It's easier to see when I get a little bit closer and move around, but they all open for airflow. They just look fantastic. And again, you've got the day and night kind of shades and blinds here for you whenever you want it. Now, you know what? Let's go ahead and talk about this, because I'm over it. So this thing's the size of a Starship Enterprise, and it practically has the same level of tech package short of the transporter system. But this thing has a thing called J-Voice. And there is a little white hockey puck up over my left shoulder there that is listening to you. Now, it's not Alexa. It's not constantly listening. It doesn't report back to a government agency or something like that. It's only programmed to recognize specific audio sequences and commands. It does not necessarily need like internet connection and stuff like that. But as I'm walking around this, doing my presentations, it'll hear what I say and sometimes think I told it to turn off the lights when I didn't. Now, it has some very cool functions. For what I do, it's a very big annoyance. If I could change one thing on this RV, it would get rid of the J-Voice package. But that's because it's not convenient for me. People who actually own things like North Point's Pinnacles, have you found that to be useful? Is that something they should continue to do, or is that something that should go away? Let's get that feedback back to Jayco, and maybe I just need to get over it. I don't know. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled programming. In our earlier flyby footage, I showed you how this works. This is their new like roll open like residential extension table. It basically works on almost like a bungee roller system. You literally just pull it out. It basically soft locks in place when you're done. You push it back in and it pretty much just walks itself in. And this new waterfall edge countertop mega extension that's countertop flush. So many other manufacturers, if you get a countertop extension, there's always a little bit of a level change because it allows the factory workers a greater tolerance. They could put the mount a little higher, a little lower, and if it's not intended to be countertop flush, they don't have to be perfect. Well, now they do, and as you can see, obviously they figured out how to get it done properly. Now, swinging our way over here, this is, again, one of the differences between something like a 310 North Point and the 38 Pinnacle. This is just the 310 North Point on steroids, and it's practically got double the kitchen. That's the biggest thing that you're really gaining in this, is you're gaining double the kitchen, and I love the symmetry of it. It has so much counter space. Under those overhead cabinets, you've got some power outlets. Let me see if I can swing low, sweet chariot, and give you a look at those. One over there next to the refrigerator. You're going to find another one over here. So, you know, we're not talking a big tall gap. I do prefer countertop outlets or near the countertop, but I can kind of deal with that. You've also got the power televator over here. So you sort of have a choice of, you know, the TV or the big window. Now the switch for that's right over here. Sometimes manufacturers hide these things and it's like trying to find Willy Wonka, trying to find the frickin' switch. What's funny is that's actually what I'm used to. So I went stomping all over this entertainment center trying to find the switch. And then I realized it was just in the smartest, most obvious location. And I'm not used to the RV industry doing things in the smartest, most obvious fashion. I want to give you a quick up close and personal look at this right here. Just beautiful cabinetry. One of the only things I'm a little surprised about is these are the only two cabinet doors in the RV that like won't hold themselves open. But again, this is all your, well, this is in the way now. Your cabinet styles and rails, they're all a true hardwood. You know, it's not a like a pressed particle board with a sticker veneer wrap or anything like that. It's not lumber core. It's just all wood screwed together. Now, as long as we're looking at cabinetry stuff, let's start cracking things open because this RV has some crazy, crazy good storage capacity. Now, there's two drawers in this symmetrical setup kitchen that have a drawer inside of a drawer. So I don't care how many flippin' utensils you have, you've got plenty of space. Have you ever had to jam too many utensils into one drawer and like the spatula's like, it'd be a shame if somebody were to stop that drawer from ever opening again. You don't have that problem here. Now that is a big residential refrigerator that does have a ice maker and water dispenser built right in, and they now have a whole house water filtration system, a triple stage water filtration system. So you've got good water coming into that thing pretty easy anytime. The RV has an 1800 watt inverter, by the way, to run that. I was actually walking through here earlier and another dealer looked at this and said, how do I run the fridge in transit? You can have zero solar on this and go cross country and that fridge is going to get by just fine. When you start looking at deeper stuff though, like you can see that Pinnacle has a dishwasher. North Point's prepped for it, but Pinnacle just has it. What's a little bit less obvious, and if you give me a minute, I'll give you a closer look here. They are now rocking custom in-house dovetailed plywood drawer construction. they have stepped this up. Now, there's some other manufacturers doing something similar, but to my knowledge, Jayco's the only one building their dovetail drawers in-house. And one of the key differences there is that allows them to have that sort of buck stops here kind of mentality. And that's one of the reasons that Jayco's typically have about double the warranty of anybody else, because basically they're able to accomplish more accountability than most other brands, because if there's a problem, it's a problem with their own staff members, and they can resolve that. They don't have to have a meeting with the supplier and go over things with Rebecca from accounting. And by the way, apologies if your name's Rebecca from accounting. Any similarities to persons existing or fictitious is coincidental, whatever the stupid movies say, but that's what I'm talking about right there. The drawers are not held together by staples in your imagination. I never really saw Jayco having a problem with their drawers before, but that's kind of the thing with North Point and Pinnacle. It's not about being good enough. It's about trying to be the best they possibly can. Just in case you're curious, your little central vacuum hookups are located right down there, and the little simulated floating step does have a little motion light. It might kick on as we get near it. It might kick on after it's off camera, but it also makes for a handy little flip-flop shop down there to keep some shoes out of the way. Working our way into the upper deck here. The bedroom and bathroom is pretty fairly typical for what you expect from a big giant fifth wheel like this. I think they didn't really go too awful nuts reinventing the wheel. I do want to mention one of the very few North Point to Pinnacle differences. North Point will go to a thermofoil bathroom countertop. Pinnacle maintains a solid surface. And if I get you down here, I want to give you, on the left side of the screen, a quick little look at the storage that's under there. Also, one of the interesting things you'll notice, the toilet paper roller is actually on the inside of that cabinet door, so it actually swings open to be pretty easy to reach, and then it's out of the way. Now, this big wide body rig has just fantastic space around the toilet. There's zero issues with that whatsoever. But I have a little bit of a surprising gripe with this RV. If you notice, it really doesn't have dedicated linen space in this bathroom. I was just a little surprised by that. Now, something I'm not surprised to see is the big XL vent fan up here. Now, remember how we saw that third air conditioner in the living room? Or at least I talked about it. If you don't get the third air conditioner, that's what you get in the living room. You get one of those big rain sensing, like XL max air vent fan kind of things. The headroom in this shower is fantastic. Take a look at the right side of the screen. That's me standing up in there. And then that's me sitting down in there, because they don't just prep for the shower seat. They actually build it in right from the factory level. So this whole like giant mega oversized walk-in shower with the fold down seat thing, I think Jayco was one of the first manufacturers to really do that. I don't know that they get the credit for how popular that's become across different brands, but that's how the RV industry works. It's RV R&D, rip off and duplicate. Again, we don't have visible air conditioner in here, so it's going to be much quieter. And the headroom in the bedroom is absolutely fantastic. You're going to have to be a power forward for your favorite basketball team to have headroom issues in here. It's just not a real world problem. Now, last year they redesigned this front closet. I think they have one of the best front closet bedroom wardrobe suites available in the RV industry today. A lot of manufacturers have the stackable washer dryer prep on the right and a closet on the left, and this has that. But instead of wasting all that dead air open pocket space below, they just packed in a ton of extra storage, including a handy laundry hamper in there, and they put great room to walk around the bed. Now, I don't believe in like lying by omission. I'm not going to mislead you. The bed is not necessarily symmetrical, but we are looking at the king bed, and I think there's still decent space to walk around it over here, you know. You can also swap down to a queen bed if you're so inclined, and all the windows around the bedside will open for airflow, including the Cyclops window above. So we have household, USB outlets, both sides of the bed, very easy to reach and access. And if you want to throw down a yoga mat and throw down some yoga moves, is that what they're called? I don't even know. I'm sure you could take one look at my body, type in, no, I don't know jack or squat about yoga. Anyway, you get the idea. There's a lot of floor space. Lifting that up, looking at all the storage around here in the bedroom, it is big, it is spacious. There is awesome storage in here. You actually have room to put on a pair of pants in the bedroom. You can either have maximum closet space, or you can outfit it with either a stackable or combo washer dryer, your choice. And if you're looking really closely, you might notice how even in the bedroom and bathroom, they have maintained ventless flooring. So many RV manufacturers love to tout how they don't put heat vents in the floor. but they only do it sometimes in the living room or the kitchen. When you get to the bedroom and bathroom, a lot of those brands reintroduce floor ducted heating for one reason or another. And again, Jayco put in the time and effort to not have that happen. Now, as per usual protocol, I like to close the slides up here and showcase things in road mode for you. The bed looks very easy to get to, but I want to mention that's a Schwintek slide. And one of the caveats with Schwintek slides is they really shouldn't be sat in and used while the slides close. It's just not engineered for that. Now, maybe Jayco's done some extra testing that I don't know about that allows them to get away with it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I don't want you to buy something because Josh said, and then it turns out to not be the case. So I'd rather exercise caution. Here's what's funny. This is the bigger version of the 310 North Point, and it actually has better traveling access. The North Point, you can get to the bathroom, get to the bedroom, but you can't get to the kitchen. Now, it's not like you can get to a ton of the kitchen, but you can at least get to the refrigerator in this one unimpeded, and that ain't worth nothing. And if you appreciate the extra little like pro tips and details, and hey, don't do this because you could break your RV, even if that's something that you're like, well, I really wished I could have because I would have bought it otherwise. Like, you know, we're willing to share deal breaker kind of stuff just out of respect for it. Oh boy, I am glad those slides close without clipping the fan. Some RVs, you have to have the ceiling fan pointed in a specific direction or else they'll smash it. I'm really glad that's not the case here because I didn't even think about it. I don't know what I was saying before that. I'm tired. Let's go. Now this thing is the size of a USS battleship, and it weighs just about as much. And I don't know that I would recommend anything less than a dually for hauling this around because it is big, it is beautiful, but it is heavy. It has a lot of hitch weight, and especially if you go adding the optional generator to the front, you're gonna add more weight to the hitch. I really feel, man, especially if you're gonna do any kind of like aggressive hills or mountain travel, you need that dually power for that kind of thing, and the payload. You know, that's a major factor here. Now we're looking at generator prep. You can get the generator built right on from the factory. We've also got 6-point hydraulic auto leveling, which is fairly common in this class. They also have an excellent ride and handling package. Like you've got that MORryde shock dampening pin box. You've got Uniroyal 17.5-inch H-rated tires with tire pressure monitoring, MORryde suspension package, greasable like wet bolt Zerk fittings, all kinds of stuff. This thing is, it's big. But if you're gonna move it around, you gotta make sure it's not gonna rattle trap itself apart when you're roller quaking down the road, and it's built for stuff like that, you know. I do think a model like this is primarily intended for more long-term stays, but nothing says you couldn't tow it. Now let's talk slide systems. Our lower deck slides are rack and pinion slides, whereas the upper deck here, that is a Schwintek slide system. Now we're looking at the optional slide awnings, and in case you hadn't discerned, we are looking at an optional paint package. You know, by default, Pinnacles are not painted, but they do have 3 different paint package options that are available. And assuming I remember, I'll try to edit some of that onto the screen here. Otherwise, you're just staring at a beautiful painted Pinnacle. I'm not sure which is gonna end up being the case, but I'd really be kind of curious, just off those little visual samples, which one would you go with, you know? Now the paint packages, they're spendy, but if this RV is 8 to 10 years old, it still looks just like this. The RV looks so much younger when it's painted as it ages. It's a really crazy thing that happens there. Now, again, for towing's sake, this has the Dexter Tow Assist system, which is both electronic anti-sway as well as anti-lock braking. That's what this little hockey puck donut looking thing is here. And look at this, they call it Max LP, which is a terribly original name, but instead of dual 30-pound tanks, they have triple 40-pound tanks. They have 120 pounds of propane. That's double what you normally find in this class and category. It is also available with things like the Sanacon macerator system, which, if you're not familiar with it, one of the most unceremonious but maybe effective descriptions I've ever had from one of my customers. They call it the turbo crapper. Basically, it's, you know, everything's built right on, and it can actually, it's a power pump. If you're at a weird campsite, it can actually pump waist uphill a little bit, not severely, but a little bit, and that's kind of crazy. Now it is a drop frame, which it just opens up hugely in here. You saw the motion light turn off on us. Hopefully that kicks back on as I get in here. What you can't see behind the camera is that I'm waving my arms like a madman, and it's doing absolutely nothing. This right here, hey, look at that. Our new water heater, or no, water filtration system. Instead of the drinking water jug, the Culligan jug, they've now outfitted this with a 3-stage water filtration system. So if you're at a campground that has gross water, you don't feel like you're drinking something with diphtheria in it. And located over there around the corner, that would be the inverter that comes factory standard on this to help keep that refrigerator running when you are zooming down the road. Now what's cool is multiple outlets in this RV are technically inverter prepped. But because this RV already has an inverter on it to run the refrigerator, there are multiple outlets in this RV, like around the bed, for instance, that actually can run off battery power, albeit for a limited time. Now that kind of segues into the conversations of things like solar. It's interesting that North Point and Pinnacle by default have no solar. Their smallest solar package is 400 watts, then they go up to like 800, and then the big mega EXT package, which I basically need to dedicate a whole separate video to that. Now notice the interesting kind of cerulean blue kind of awning lighting right here. They're using like one of these like crazy multicolor patio lights things, and you can, red, blue, well, white, whatever green you want. You can have it on strobe mode. You can stroke the neighbors out potentially with that thing. Just be really cool with that at night. You could really irritate somebody with it. Now you see that little outside entertainment. You've got a built-in TV right on the slide face here. That's a Pinnacle thing. So North Point and Pinnacle, people ask all the time, what are the differences? They're truly more similar than different, but you can see a couple differentiating factors for them while they're right out here. North Point just has a flat rear wall. Now, North Point now has paint package options that Pinnacle didn't, but North Point's just a rear wall. It looks like a cap, but it's not. When we get over here, we have a full rear cap. And again, from the back, doesn't it look like a Class A motorhome back here? When you can't see the fifth wheel coupler, it looks like a motorized coach. You also have, again, we mentioned the TV. One of the other differentiating factors that we have is if I wrap my way around the corner of this thing, God, that is good looking, isn't it? Look in the bottom corner of the RV. It's kind of black on black. Let me get you closer. You've got a 12 volt powered 50 amp cord reel, because 50 amp cords are freaking heavy, dude. But that's a Pinnacle only feature. So the things that separate Pinnacle and North Point, it's basically a couple little icing features and floor plans, because they don't typically have the exact same floor plans. Sometimes they're similar, but rarely are they ever, well, really never, exactly identical. Now you can get things like a full observation camera suite. It has a 3,000 pound rear towing receiver hitch on it. One of the other interesting things is that this does have plywood roof decking, which is a very rare quality in the towable RV market. Most everything's OSB decking, and that's just one of those Jayco doing Jayco thing differences right here. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I know this runs long. There's so much to talk about these. I still didn't touch every single widget and whiz bang on it. But I'd love to hear what you think about it. And as I always do, I'll leave you links in the video description. You can see if we have any of these in stock, if we do, where they're located, and what we're asking. Free of any hidden dealer free nonsense. You don't need to give us your grandmother's blood type just to get a price quote on one of these. If we have one in stock, it'll be right on our site for you anytime. So if you appreciate the ease, the transparency, the candor, taking the time to show you around here instead of going back to the room and resting like I probably should have done because I'm beat, hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.